Otakuology podcast with Otaku Mike and Jin Graves.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Otakuology podcast. I'm your host, Otaku Mike. With me, as always, is my heterosexual life partner, Jin Graves. How you doing today, buddy?
What's up?
What's going on,
good.
my friend?
Pretty good. Day off and all that. So it's
buddy. I was gotta tell you. I mean, we kind of talked a little bit beforehand, but so I went and bought my PlayStation 5. I almost said PlayStation 4. So I splurged a little bit and bought a PS5.
There's no shame in my game.
I wanted the PS5 Slim. They did not have that. So I got the regular PlayStation 5, which is like 800 gigs, I think, in the hard drive, I think it was. And the PS3 Slim is like a terabyte, I think. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I wanted it because I wanted to play the Spider-Man 2 game and like Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, Spider-Man 2. And I was like, I really want to play it, I mean, whatnot. And so I'm getting it all set up and whatnot. And I look at my receipt, and the bitch at the GameStop charged me for a rewards like pro membership. Didn't ask me if I wanted it, but just charged me for it. Charged me an extra $25 for this. And
That's
I'm like, I was like, could you consider that like thievery almost? Like, is that like an okay business practice type of thing? Because all they did there, they like, hey, do you have a phone number with us? And I was like, no, I don't. And they're like, oh, give us your phone number. We can give you a discount, for your purchase. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't fucking know that they were going to charge me for this fucking thing. Right. And so, like, I guess I have like a year pro thing, which I don't really use that much because I don't normally go to GameStop and whatnot, So
yeah.
I think I might go back and ask them to take it off because I did not want that charge at all.
Yeah.
So I was like, ugh.
Who does want that charge?
I mean, who wants to be charged for something that they didn't ask for?
This is true.
But I have to say, so I was going. One, I'm not really totally sold on the. We'll get to our topic in a few minutes, but I'm not 100% sold on the interface. The interface is a little confusing, and I couldn't. When we were getting ready to do the podcast, I was streaming and playing a game. I couldn't figure out how to turn my PlayStation off.
Oh, Jesus.
Because you know how like you have the PlayStation 4 where you push the button, you're like, I'll power off, It's like, how the fuck? I'm pushing the home button, nothing's happening, like, how the fuck am I supposed to turn this thing off? So I just paused my game, and it's still running at the moment, but I'll figure out how to turn it off eventually.
Link me in. Bloop, bloop, bloop.
But one thing I have to say I do like is I downloaded the Final Fantasy, and it upgraded me for free to the PS5 version because I already owned Final Fantasy 7, which is pretty cool. Like they're like whatever games I guess you bought on the PlayStation Network, you can download if they're compatible. You know?
Most games nowadays with that, whenever you buy it, it says PS4 and PS5.
Well, I didn't know that because I downloaded Ghost of Tsushima, and it only gave me the PS4 version, not the. I would have to pay an extra $10 for the PS5 version, which is not bad. It's not a bad, It's not like I'm paying. paying full price or
Sounds like the
anything.
robbery thing you were just telling us about.
Yes, but I didn't. I could have opted into the Ghost of Tsushima game if I wanted
Right.
to. Like if I wanted to get the PS5 version, I just pay the extra $10. Which seeing at the price of these freaking PS5 games, oh my god, like it's ridiculous. I have to say, like
Right.
it was like $70 for a game.
See, and I don't even buy games offline anymore, like actual hard copy games. I always
Yeah.
buy mine
Well,
because usually if you get them off the network, you're usually getting a discount in some way.
in some way, if there's a deal going on and whatnot. But like,
Yeah.
I only buy physical if I really really want the game. Like if I want to have the game, because we're gonna be talking about it later. Not all digital things are gonna be yours forever, which we'll get into that. But what have you been up to, my friend?
Hey, buddy, if it's downloaded on my system, I'll just take it off the internet and I can have that game forever.
Well, I mean, like like if you delete it and go back to try to get it back and like reinstall it, it might not be there.
Yeah.
But if you keep it on your
Yeah.
hard drive, unless the hard drive doesn't fail, everything's good.
That's true.
But man, I have to say things have been going around in the anime world and whatnot. And people are making a big fuss about this Funimation thing that's been going around.
It's true.
Which
It is true.
I
I feel like not even in like the manga circle or whatever, like how we're in or anime,
yeah.
but like even out past that,
Oh,
there's more
really?
people talking about it. Yeah.
Really? Like in your personal life?
Yeah, a couple people in my personal life, but like just like in other places, like if you look stuff up, it pops up.
Yeah. Which I don't know if we ever talked about it. I think it was like a year or so ago. Sony bought Funimation, and
Right.
they were going to they had like a merger partnership thing going on, to where, which they also bought Crunchyroll as well. I think I don't know if they bought them that same year, but they bought it. They did buy Crunchyroll, and
Right.
and so they had like a little merger where they partnered with stuff. Some Crunchyroll stuff went over to Funimation. Some Funimation stuff went over to Crunchyroll. Some of the stuff they couldn't like move over the Crunchyroll at the time because of like contracts and stuff, I guess.
Right.
But things have been going on with moving and grooving type of thing. Crunchyroll has slowly been taking over a Funimation,
Right.
which excuse me, I had to take a drink. But regardless of what you think of Funimation, if you love them or hate them or whatever, I like Funimation. I use their streaming services like a lot.
Yeah.
And I haven't used them in quite some time because I just kind of got away from the anime streaming. I just couldn't keep up with it. Because it was like $5 a month, which is super cheap for streaming. You had like over 200 titles, but apparently, as of what is the date we got here? As of so Funimation, we're gonna be talking about today. Funimation officially shuts down as part of the Crunchyroll merger. In a statement released Wednesday, Crunchyroll announces that Funimation app will shut down on Tuesday, April 2nd. The streaming platform first declared the acquisition of the competition Funimation on March 22nd, 2022. One thing that people are really upset about is one, you have to like move over all your stuff from Funimation to Crunchyroll. Apparently that's a
Right.
real big hassle. Like move over your library and stuff like that, of like your watch list library and stuff. Apparently, from what I understand, whoever is moving things over, they're not grandfathering in that previous price, I think. you're going to be paying the regular price. And apparently, for an annual fee for Crunchyroll now is $100 a year. Can you believe that?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, we kind of had our yearly subscription of stuff anyway, so
Yeah.
having a rough amount of, like, because some stuff you could already get and you were paying like $75. So them to
Yeah.
adjust it a little bit where after 12 months you're paying 100, you know, that's something I could see them doing anyway.
But see, here's the thing though, like anime fans are fucking cheap as hell. Like,
So I would like to bring this up.
okay.
Looking at the difference between how shit happened with Right Stuff and how it's happening with Funimation,
Yeah.
uh, I have to agree with you that people for Funimation are really getting bent over and having to take it with the Funimation upgrades compared to all the stuff from like the Right Stuff with the manga and the actual products.
Uh-huh. Yeah. How so?
Well, like the price is going up a lot. As far as the manga goes, we haven't seen, or like the physical stuff, we haven't seen price increases of any of that
I
stuff.
don't even know if their Funimation is putting anything like new wise out. Like I think they're like
Probably not.
production. I think their like production on stuff is like slowed down dramatically. And I don't think they've even released like a new title at all recently.
Right?
And I think like the dub, I don't even know if they're like dubbing things at Funimation anymore. I think the dubbing studio part like went away to like make their own like business or whatever. I think.
Yeah.
Which is sad to see. If that is the case, what is technically left of Funimation? Like with like the right stuff thing, what was left is like apparently they kept like the building and like they're still using like all the product and stuff for shipping
Yeah.
and whatnot. Apparently customer service is really really bad with Crunchyroll, from what I hear.
I've heard that.
From
I've heard that too.
but also
Yeah,
I
I mean,
heard
I feel like they're
I also
taking part of these warehouses and
uh-huh.
stuff from those places, and they're just kind of like creating a stepping stone for them to send products out.
Yeah. I mean, I hope like we still get like good quality like products from Funimation. Like I hope they just don't like just tear it down and stuff. Like, cuz they had a lot of freaking titles. Like a lot of like distribution for like Blu-ray and DVDs and whatnot. They had like
Right.
over 200 titles. Like I remember when Funimation picked up all of the like Gideon and Pioneer stuff. They even picked up like Bandai stuff. Because like in reality, we only really have like two of the three, I guess, four. We have four. So we have Discotech, who like license rescues almost everything they can get a hold of, like is a niche, very niche
Right.
publisher. We have Sentai Filmworks that releases all the other stuff, and then we have Funimation that gets like all like the really really big stuff. I feel like, I mean, I
Right.
could be wrong in some sense. I mean, I feel like they had a lot more titles than anybody else had, and in their library, especially streaming library. I would
Oh,
say
and I mean they've been around for a long time,
they've been
so
around for like over 30 years. I think it was.
right.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about. And then think about like, oh, they're gonna be going bye bye. Which leads me to discuss what everybody is really really having a problem with, which is I never really dabbled in their digital stuff for like purchasing digital stuff from them. I
Yeah.
would get like digital codes whenever I got like a Blu-ray or something. But
Right.
apparently, so none of the digital stuff is going over if you purchased it to Crunchyroll. So you're
Right.
just shit out of luck that it's going bye bye. And a
Right.
lot of people are really, really mad about this.
Yep.
You
Well,
know,
and I can see that too because it's not like a one for one change like some other places do. You know, it's an established thing that the companies already have, and they're trying to like make it one thing. So then they'll send something over, and everything just transfers solid. This one, since it's coming from a completely different business standard, um, makes sense that it's kind of getting moved over like that.
well, the thing is, like,
But it's still shitty.
as well as like, not all the titles are being moved over as well for like the digital aspect for streaming.
Right.
Because apparently,
Right.
apparently, Crunchyroll doesn't have uncut stuff on their streaming sites,
Yeah.
but Funimation offered that. Like, Funimation offered uncut and cut versions of some stuff, like broadcast versions. But
Right.
when stuff is being transferred, apparently, from Funimation over to Crunchyroll, we're not getting uncut things, or they're just not moving titles over at all.
Right.
Which people are saying, this is why. This is why we have to have physical media, because we're going to lose all of our stuff.
I mean, they ain't lying.
They're
You
not
know,
lying. They're not. They're
hopefully
not
some of
lying.
that stuff does. Hopefully it does still get kind of archived somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, you know, whether it's Funimation still having physical copies of it, like somewhere, or Crunchyroll having like old physical copies of Funimation stuff or whatever, stuff like that.
Yeah. Which is, I'm very surprised to see everybody so up in arms about this, because I never really hear anybody like talk about the Funimation app at all. Like, it's always like,
This is true.
go to Crunchyroll, you know. But
Yeah.
because that's the one most people know about. It's just
Right.
sad to see like that we're not getting all the uncut stuff, because we all like the uncut stuff. We like to see the titties, and the blood and the violence,
Right. We'll see. And the other thing is, depending on how that stuff is, like some of the stuff that we already own that's Funimation wise. I mean, what's to keep us from at some point turning around and selling that for like a higher dollar,
You're
and
Go ahead.
then selling it for a higher dollar, and then turning around and buying another copy from maybe Crunchyroll or whatever that you know basically has almost all the same stuff. But what's to say, like, on the price hike of those from Funimation, since they're more like relics, I guess, at that point.
I guess relics, yeah, but like the uncut version, you know,
Yeah.
of something. I mean, Funimation used to offer like uncut versions of Dragon Ball or cut versions of Dragon Ball. They would offer like two different versions, which you bring up a very good point. Like, what if all these Funimation things that aren't being brought over, or what if that creates like artificial like price hike in like the secondary market, where I'm like, oh my god,
Right.
like that'll be insane. To like, how many like more like out of print quote Blu-rays and DVDs are we gonna have on the websites like eBay and stuff?
Right.
Oh man, I have a lot of Funimation stuff. Maybe I should start listing it now.
Right. Um. Yeah, but I mean, it just makes me think about it too, like how simple it kind of was for like the right stuff to get moved over, because it was almost like day and night. It was there, and then virtually everything got moved over to Crunchyroll.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? But now it's like we have all this stuff for Funimation, and it's coming over, and what is that doing?
yeah.
Um, and then the other thing is like with that I feel like we have to question is what about those physical products that were Funimation products that came over with like the right stuff, and what happens to those now that Funimation is now basically getting dissolved or absorbed?
Because all that stuff was under a certain contract with Funimation
Right,
for them to produce the stuff. Are the contracts now null and void? Does Crunchyroll have to pick up the contracts for those? Like, what exactly is
right,
going on? You know?
right. Well, and something that you just recently talked about before we got on the air, and piggybacking off of what you started the conversation out um, with a PlayStation,
Uh,
with Sony, what does that do because of the whole thing that um, Sony, kind of teaming up with Crunchyroll and Funimation? Does that dissolve part of their products with
uh,
the Funimation stuff, or does that kind of make the deal, better because they are getting absorbed from Crunchyroll?
I would say they probably have a better like impact and like getting out there to more people. I would say
Yeah,
in a sense, like a more of like a marketing part of the situation, like being, oh, we got this and this and this, like more people can know about these things, and we can get titles out to like different like places, like like season sets and stuff like that. I see stuff at Walmart all the time for like all the Funimation stuff.
yeah,
You know, but I'm
right,
curious if we're going to be seeing Funimation stuff still, because I know a lot of the
and
Funimation stuff has been going under the Crunchyroll branding whenever it comes out. Because I remember they put out like a recently like a Dragon Ball set, a Super set, I think it
yeah,
was, and there was no Funimation logo on there. It was just
yeah,
Crunchyroll, you know. But yeah,
yeah.
this I
It,
feel like. Go ahead.
well, and like, what do you think? Do you think part of these old ones with Right Stuff and with Funimation that they were kind of like older giants that are just, like they lost part of their steam, and now Crunchyroll um, is able to kind of like take those and absorb them so easily because of all that stuff?
I would say probably. I mean, with Right Stuff, we don't really truly know why it was sold.
Right,
Maybe like Sean Kleckner wanted to get out of the game. 'Cause,
right,
he's been doing it for like over 30 years. And I know he's still doing like the publishing stuff with like Nozomi and stuff,
yeah,
but I don't think he has anything with Right Stuff at all anymore, or Crunchyroll, I guess you could say now. Um, I mean, maybe a little bit. Maybe we're having another bubble burst. Where like anime is not selling as well. Like it's all streaming well, but like maybe physical media actually is dying. I don't know. Like, I mean, it's hard to say.
right. Well, and one of the other questions I have is, is anything going to ever happen with Crunchyroll now? Because with them buying up so much, basically stake in the, uh, otaku world, I guess,
Hmm.
you know, are there any fears of stuff like that? Maybe not like from this stuff, because I'm sure we'll still deal with the fallout from like Right Stuff merger and like this Funimation absorption and stuff.
Yeah,
What will happen then with Crunchyroll? Where they get too big? Well, they lose people because maybe they'll do this price hike thing, across the board on everything.
yeah,
What exactly is going to happen with all this stuff um, for them, you know, and even if it's going to make them keep going or people just kind of say, fuck off, kind of.
yeah. I really don't know, because I mean, people are using Crunchyroll. I've heard mixed like feelings about Crunchyroll. and how everything's working and whatnot. We've talked to Mangasloth the other day, and he said like the packaging is like still the old packaging and stuff, and they're still apparently using like Right Stuff branded boxes and stuff
Right.
for their packaging and whatnot. I don't want to go into too much what we talked about, but
Yes.
he had problems with Crunchyroll or Right Stuff or whatever. So, I mean, Right Stuff wasn't perfect. Neither was Funimation. Because they ended up like trying to crowdfund like the vision of Escaflowne, and they were like a really big publishing studio. Like, why did they need to crowdfund something that was popular? Like, it was just weird. It was where to look at.
Right. Right.
So I mean, they
Right.
made some mistakes here and there, up and down. Everybody in the publishing world makes mistakes. Nobody's 100%.
Everybody makes mistakes.
But like, it's
Yeah.
interesting to see like where anime is going. Like, anime is more mainstream than it has ever been, and like just seeing like, I don't want to say like the subtle collapse or like absorptions of companies makes me really, really sad.
I agree.
To just look at and think about, and I'm just like, oh man, like I don't want to say like how far we've fallen, but I mean, there could be like a light at the end of the tunnel. Like, maybe this is good. Who knows? Like, who really knows? Like, if this is going to be good or not. Now, people were like indifferent or upset about Funimation. I mean, I was kind of just sad because I really liked Funimation and the stuff that they would put out. And plus, they were
Right.
they were in Texas. They're like a 2-hour drive away from where I am. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
was always kind of proud. My state was the state where they do like the anime dubbing. Now we just have the one in Houston. We don't got the
Right.
one in Dallas.
Right. And you really don't know how long that one will be there.
Which is true because they just got bought out by AMC, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
But I do have to say, a bright side into this. I know you didn't know who they actually are, but Animego, which is the like 2-person publishing or distributor of anime, they did like Writing Bean, Bubblegum Crisis, AD Police, Otaku no Video, I think Vampire Princess Miyu. They have a very, very small catalog. Very, very small
Yeah.
catalog. But they actually just got bought out or acquired by Media OCD. But you don't know who Media OCD is. They basically author and make like the Blu-rays that are going to come out. So like they design all the Blu-rays and make them and whatnot. Like they make like the proof of concept and then they give them to the studios or the publisher and they publish the Blu-rays and stuff like that. They get all like the special features together, all like the stuff, which they've worked a lot with Discotech. Seeing them work or acquire Animego, I think, is really cool. I mean, they said that the Robert Woodhead was going to be staying on with Animego for the next couple of years to like see things like to transition through, which is really cool to see. I mean, a lot of people don't know about Animego. I actually just found out. I could order stuff off their website. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I actually ordered like a lot of anime off of their website recently.
But to say you better order it before they get bought
I
out.
did. I ordered some couple things, which it was like quite a bit actually. It'll be in my anime haul.
Later on this year, they won't even be a company anymore.
No, they actually
will buy them up.
No, I mean they're still going to be a company, I believe. Because he wants to like. From what I can tell, Justin Savakis, who he was like the one of the co-founders of Anime News Network. He like is very niche in the anime community. Like, if you know who he is, you know who he is. he likes a lot
Right.
of those older titles and stuff. So like I can see him like keeping it around to like publish like kind of like what he wants to publish, being like a
Yeah.
very like boutique like anime publisher, which is cool, because that's what
Right.
Animego is. They publish like live action stuff as well. A lot of samurai stuff they actually published. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think I think like one thing dies, but then like another thing like slowly rises from the ashes. It's like scenario like Funimation's dying, but like Animego could be something now.
I
That,
don't know. I
that
I don't know on any of that. I mean, I couldn't really.
I mean, yeah, I know. I mean,
I
no,
couldn't. I couldn't really say a lot of that.
yeah.
Only because I feel like we're saying it's kind of like the phoenix rising from the ashes. But I mean, I feel like you can almost make the argument of like that with Crunchyroll already because what about when they were an illegal streaming service,
Oh yeah. I mean,
And so now, like, and a lot of people don't, I think, remember that or know that just because of
no.
how many of the people are so young. It just like how Netflix started out as like a red box,
It's funny, like
or
if you mention that if they mention that like in an interview or something with like Crunchyroll, they never
yeah,
like acknowledge it like at all.
right, right.
They never acknowledge like, oh man, yeah,
What
we
are,
used to be an illegal
what are you talking
streaming
about?
site,
Yeah,
you know.
right. Yeah, we used to steal your shit, Funimation.
Yeah, yeah. Now we own you.
Now we're gonna own it.
Yeah. Which I
We're
mean,
we're
like,
gonna take your shit.
it's crazy to think about like that too. Like the illegal streaming site is like the powerful
Is
streaming
now the
site.
leading. Yeah.
It's the leading streaming site within the anime like community or whatever. And I'm just like, oh my god. But yeah, I mean,
No,
I mean,
I agree. I mean, I feel the same way. I'm part of that because you're like,
I mean,
what
like
else are we gonna do?
I don't even like really use Crunchyroll like at all.
I don't really use Crunchyroll either.
I use Retro Crush and I use Tubi. Like unless it's free on Retro Crush, then I'll
And
watch
then
it
you
or
go,
on
and then you go.
Crunchyroll.
I use Freevee.
I use Freevee and Tubi, but like
Yeah,
even like Crunchyroll does have a free section on their site.
yeah.
But I mean,
See,
if
and I kind of want to know. I want to know that too. Like, what about some of these other streaming places? Like, what's going to happen with that stuff for them?
um, well, I know that they do partner up with like they're not like partnered up with Crunchyroll. They have more of like
Yeah,
the stuff from like Discotech and stuff like that, and like
yeah,
I think they do have some like Funimation stuff on there, maybe, or I know they might have like some Sentai stuff on there, but I mean, I don't know. I
yeah.
mean, I know a lot of people do use or use Retro Crush and use Tubi for their anime. Because I mean,
Right.
it's not a bad place to go to find like obscure anime that like Crunchyroll doesn't have. Or Crunchyroll might have that stuff. But it might be the cut stuff, the cut version,
Yeah. Do you think that we'll have more stuff from other places that were kind of underneath the Funimation label?
probably.
Um, that like Netflix or
Yeah.
Hulu or other places like that. And will we see like a decline in them having those?
I think so. To be honest, I really, really do think so. Like once those licenses expire, like once they because each streaming service license something for like a certain amount of years. I can see
Right.
them moving away from Hulu probably and moving away from Netflix and just having it in Crunchyroll. Like I can see that happening. Like because I feel like they want to be the one-stop shop for your anime. All your anime stuff,
Right.
all your manga stuff, they want to be the one-stop shop. You know, they don't necessarily want to share things. You know,
Right.
I feel like
I can
or
see that.
or I could be completely wrong, and they'll just share little things here and there to like, you know, for to get like revenue or something maybe. But I mean, I don't
Right.
know. It's really, I feel like it's a little too soon to tell, to
Right.
be honest. But we'll see come like, you know, April 2nd, like what's gonna happen, you know. You know, it's
This is true. I'm sure we'll see a lot of stuff just
yeah,
start pandering out
yeah.
here and there.
But when I told you this, like what were your thoughts about it when I was like, oh, let's talk about this, you know, what were your, did you even like really care? Or you're like, yeah, like
Um,
it'll like, I don't know.
Initially, I think because we kind of talked about it too. Basically, like when I knew, like what you were talking about just, hey, like Funimation's like kind of disappearing. I don't know if I really cared too much because kind of like what you said, like how much do people actually use Funimation? Like
Yeah,
maybe like a secondary party, like somewhere that we could watch their anime from.
yeah.
But then whenever you were actually like, oh well, it actually pertains to like Crunchyroll, then that was kind of like my red light was going off. Like, wait, we just talked about this shit with like them and Right Stuff, and now we're talking about it with them and Funimation,
Yeah,
and I'm just kind of like, what the fuck is going on? Like
exactly.
because
C-
at some point it kind of almost feels like a Disney thing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Like when Disney bought Fox.
yeah, like Disney buys something or whatever, and then they get absorbed, or like whenever they did Star Wars, or when they got Marvel.
Yeah,
Like what is going on here?
yeah. And
I am so
I
confused.
know you're not like big into like the anime purchasing and stuff, you know. So like I feel like
Right,
that didn't really pertain to you, and you know you'll occasionally stream something and watch something, you know. You know, if it's for the podcast or just for fun, you know. I know you've watched anime and stuff, and but like I feel like it's kind of like losing a friend almost. Like a friend like got taken out to the back pasture and like old Yeller shot. I feel like.
old Yeller shot.
I mean, because I mean, like I liked Funimation a lot. Like I got really into like the culture and stuff of Funimation. I would try to follow like the voice actors around and stuff, and you know, and like you know, like I listened to all the commentary tracks I would get for like the animes I would buy and stuff. Like I was really big into Funimation because they put out stuff that I really enjoyed and whatnot, you know.
Right,
But I mean, I feel like it is what it is. Like it's the end of an era. I feel like, and I just hope like I hope like those titles like live on. That like maybe Crunchyroll's not gonna pick up. Like I hope they just don't like die and get lost forever.
right,
And
right.
people can't experience them and enjoy them or purchase them, you know. That's really how I feel, and or they can't watch them, stream them, you know. I hope they figure something out with like the streaming stuff for like the digital copies and stuff.
Yeah,
You know, I hope something is figured out with that, you know, but we'll have to wait and see on that. I
DC's true.
I think
We
it's
will have
looking
to
I
wait and
think
see on
it's
that.
looking a little grim, to be honest. I feel like.
I agree.
But I hope something good comes out of it, and I hope like Funimation like isn't like forgotten. Like I hope in some way Funimation sticks around and they're not fully like killed off.
Yeah, I agree. Um, yeah, hopefully, like I don't know. I mean, on that stuff, that's just, I don't know, territory, I guess. But I mean, hopefully, like, past that, we will kind of get, like, better stuff, I would hope,
Yeah,
slash say, you know, um,
Crunchyroll.
from Crunchyroll, yeah.
Yeah,
as far as it goes on, like, like we have all these speculations and whatnot, and it was kind of that way with Right Stuff, but I mean it happened so fast. I feel like with Right Stuff that
Oh yeah,
we didn't exactly have time to like
grieve.
like grieve, yeah. Um, but then when it turned around, like besides like the customer support, it's kind of like it's the same no matter what. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The customer support, like we've talked about, is probably what took the biggest hit
I
because everything else is basically the same. It just got moved over to the Crunchyroll site now.
I do have to say though that one thing good with Crunchyroll now is if you pre-order something, or if you have something in your order that's pre-ordered, but like the rest is like not, they'll just send out your order and then they'll send out your other order later for pre-order. Like
Right.
they won't hold on to your order anymore, which I have to say is
Right.
pretty good. Like that's a plus. You might get multiple packages, but
This is
but
true.
you're not sitting
Better
around
than it was before.
waiting for your
Yeah.
entire order.
Better than it was before. But I mean, there's other things too. I mean, like for me, that wasn't even like that big of a problem either because it was kind of like, you got, well, like for instance, like I ordered a D&D figure, and I pre-ordered it, and on their stuff it does say, if you buy anything like that, split up your pre-orders from your other stuff.
Yeah,
And if so, if you're worried about getting it when they come out, split up those pre-orders into individual pre-orders instead of doing something all together, unless you know the time frame about when they're going to come out together.
yeah,
Um, because like I could order something that's going to come out in December and order a bunch of other products with it, and I won't receive any of that till December when this other thing comes out.
yeah,
So it's kind of like, with that understanding, like kind of you got to make multiple orders. That's understandable, but on the side note with part of this other stuff, how are we just gonna, how are we just gonna, well, I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see, honestly, of really what's the fallout from them buying Funimation.
yeah. Because I'm looking at so they released that Yu Yu Hakusho 30th anniversary box set,
Yeah,
and I'm looking at it right now at the box set, like on the, because I actually kind of want to buy it.
yeah,
I want to buy it even though I own the series. I want to buy it on Blu-ray. There is no Funimation like logo on here at all.
yeah,
It just says Crunchyroll. So
yeah. They were doing it for you.
it's for you. But yeah. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad to see, but we'll have to see how things go from here and
Yeah.
whatnot.
See how it all plays out.
Yeah. Gotta be honest, I can't believe we got 43 minutes out of this podcast.
Well, we'll probably get some more because I have a few more questions for
Okay,
you.
okay.
So, out of your infinite knowledge
Okay.
of anime and everything, do you think slash see or could think of anything that maybe they would attempt to buy as well?
Do you buy as well?
Yeah. Like we have Right Stuff, we have Funimation. Do you think that there's anything else out there that they would try to go after and buy as well?
Oh, I gotta be honest, I don't know. I mean, Bandai. I mean, maybe the Bandai catalog.
Okay.
Or I mean, I want to say Gundam, but like Gundam's like wrapped up in the Nozomi Entertainment right now. for
Yeah.
their licensing. So I mean, I really don't know. I could say possibly Discotech, but I don't know. I feel like if they tried to grab Discotech, I feel like Discotech fans would fucking riot because those people are hardcore,
Yeah. Who
hardcore
knows?
collectors. You know,
Who knows? I mean, would you think that they may try to take oh shit, you just said it.
Sentai Filmworks and
No.
Animega,
No. Fuck. You just said it and I lost it.
Bandai.
No.
Oh,
But like them taking part of that other shit like that
I don't
and
know.
moving on.
I don't know. I mean, what was bigger than Funimation at this time? You know, like Funimation for a while. Funimation was kind of like the quote people that got almost everything.
That's true.
So I don't know.
That
I
is
really don't
true.
know. I
Yeah.
really don't know who else they would buy up.
Yeah.
Like I'm like I don't know. I really
Okay.
don't.
And I mean, what else do you see like coming out of this maybe?
Hopefully, easier to find stuff like streaming.
Yeah.
Maybe. Um, that's my only thing is like, sometimes you have to go to different places to watch something.
Yeah.
But maybe the only good thing coming out of this is the fact you can go to Crunchyroll and watch almost anything that you want because they're getting a lot of the Funimation stuff now.
Right.
So I mean, like when it would before, like some stuff would be on Crunchyroll, some would be on Funimation. Crunchyroll wouldn't have everything Funimation had. Like they wouldn't have like the entire catalog of I don't know, like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z.
Right.
They would have
Right.
like part of it or something, and they would only they would only have the subtitle. They wouldn't have the dub as well. So
Right.
hopefully the way we can have like more complete like dubs and subs because there were also dubs for Dragon Ball that were like the Spanish dubs and
Yeah.
stuff. Like they like dub things in other languages as well, which those aren't going over to Crunchyroll as well. Like you're just getting subtitle or dub. You're not getting like the other language dubs.
Right. Right.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Um yeah. Well, and I mean like with that what you said, I find that to be a problem as well because people are going to turn around and not want to get stuff from them if they don't have those other ones come over.
I feel like possibly where this could lead, and I feel like it could possibly lead to like an uptick in piracy again.
Oh, no doubt.
To be
No
honest,
doubt.
to be honest,
No doubt. I 100% agree with you on that.
because I mean, I
I
feel like piracy kind of went away a little bit,
yeah.
when Crunchyroll started to come back and be legit for most titles. I mean, some titles
I agree.
we never got in English or like got licensed over here, so you had to resort to
Yeah.
piracy a little bit. But I mean, nowadays I feel like if this doesn't go well, I feel like we could be resorting to piracy.
I agree. I think that it'll probably happen anyway just because of how many different, you know, types are out there. Because, I mean, think about the other thing too with all that. Like, if we have Funimation, what about like, shit, what was it? You and
Retro
I talked
Crush?
about it way back when. No, like for an anime, whenever an
Oh,
anime company like records and they buy the rights to something,
yeah.
sometimes the recording doesn't come over with it.
Yeah.
So while we could, when it comes from Japan, we could have all of the same Japanese voice actors and stuff. But when a different company changes it out, then we have new recordings of it. So,
Are you
like
talking about like when Netflix got Evangelion?
yeah, or like some of the other stuff like that where the recordings got different.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I could
So we
possibly
had
see
like,
that.
like now on top of everything else we already have, are we going to also get, um, Crunchyroll recordings now?
Ooh, that'll be interesting to see.
Like if we had like Yu Hakusho done, are we going to have a whole new recording for that? Or
Mm.
um, for a little while, like when Netflix had it, which we talked about it, and you told me I was kind of crazy. Um, but like whenever they first put Yu Hakusho on Netflix, they didn't have the opener on there,
Oh yeah.
so they had somebody else basically go in and re-sing the opener for a little while,
Oh, I mean, like
and
they
then
already had. Yeah, on the versions I have,
yeah,
it's the English. It's the English song. Like it's sung in English.
yeah,
Yeah, like it. I mean, I think if I remember correctly, I think it switches off. Like it alternates between like Japanese and English opening. But I have to go back to check and see because I don't remember, to be honest.
I don't remember that either. But like I said, that's the other thing that makes me think about is, we're gonna get this stuff, and then we're gonna have to wait for, hey, we're not gonna keep the original voice actors, English voice actors of that stuff. We're gonna re-record our own.
Yeah, I mean, Netflix did that with Evangelion, and people freaked the fuck out.
Yeah. So,
You know.
and some other stuff has kind of done that, or the rights for like the opener, had to change or something. So now we have to have a new opener. I mean, a bunch of
Yeah.
different shit could happen like that.
I mean, things
So
could
it's
happen.
kind of like, yeah. So it's kind of like, what exactly are we going to do with that part?
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows exactly? I mean, usually the dub comes over most of the
Yeah.
time. Sometimes it doesn't, but
Right.
most of the time they have to get from what I understand is if a company buys something that's already been licensed over here by another company, that company is supposed to give them everything that they have, like
Yeah.
recording wise and stuff, which usually includes the dub as well. For
Right.
most things, I know some things there haven't been. I can't remember off the top of my head, but some things they're like, oh no, because I know like with like Escaflowne, when that got acquired by Funimation, for some reason, well, I know the why. So the Funimation got like the uncut version of Escaflowne, which had scenes in it that were never dubbed in English. So they had the original dub for the cut version, and then for the uncut version, they went and dubbed with different voice actors.
Right.
So I know that that's happened before. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see like what exactly happens. Um,
Right.
you know, but yeah,
Right.
I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, so we'll have to see. Maybe we'll be doing another episode about Funimation and Crunchyroll later on. I don't know, but thank you to everybody who's listening, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode. See you next Tuesday.
Right. See you next Tuesday.